Hi, I'm Jordan Long, and today I'm going to do this film again. A film that I did yesterday, but YouTube had to have a hang up or whatever the grounds was, and the film just got stuck. After being uploaded, it just got stuck in furlaying, and it never unplayed itself. And that's the first time. Well, there's been some times, but that is the first time in a long time that's happened ever since I've been doing films in 1080p HD. And I know that films in 1080p HD take longer to upload and fillet, but they need to fillet and become playable. Something this film that I did yesterday didn't have the grounds to do. I like to think of YouTube like someone who eats something, but then they have a hang up when it comes to shitting it out. You know. So, anyway, this film that I'm making, it was me. The film that got stuck, it wouldn't become playable, was a film where I talked about how I was happy I wasn't a YouTube mate, and I was happy I had to deal with all the downsides and the oversight that came with being a YouTube mate. And I'm sure there's going to be some folk out there, and this film is going to be talking about film getting stuck in filleting, because it used to happen. It happened a lot in the old days on YouTube. It was a everyday thing. And before feedback was even brought to YouTube, there was no way you could tell them about it unless you were one of those lucky mates out there that had the e-send. But even if you had to send, it still wasn't good enough. You had to go on the help midway and see if they knew about a hang up and then tell them about it that way. Or go on the forums back in the day and then hope that one of them came on and read it and then left you a word about, well, we're looking into it, well, we're healing this, we're working on that. Well, once feedback came along, the forums should have needed to not be there anymore. But the forums are still there. But they were unhelpful. So every time a film would get stuck in furlaying, you'd always have someone out there who they had their thought. They'd always come and tell you something like, oh, well, maybe it's your evilware stronghold. It's not my evilware stronghold tool. It's not Sysmattack Norton. If it lets all my films be uploaded and then fillet and become playable, it's not going to stop this one. But they would never stop either. Then they'd say, oh, it's your firewall. Oh, it's your reckoner. Oh, it's your interweb. It's not my firewall. It's not my Microsoft Windows firewall. You know, it's kind of... it's not my interweb. And it's not my reckoner. Haters would get irked and mad if I scaved YouTube for having my films being stuck and furlaying, or is it furlayed? I'm not sure. They would get irked and mad over this. They would scave me for being mad over my films not become playable. But they would get irked and mad too and wretched if their films were getting stuck and didn't become playable. They just wouldn't sit it out. They just wouldn't say, oh, my film's stuck in furlaying. Oh, I'm just going to leave it there. They would bitch, whine, and nag too. So, they're like, oh, I want to talk to a reckoner, a wise man or wise woman. Yeah, you might be wise in the way of the reckoner. Doesn't mean you're wise in the way of the Webstead. And what I've learned is that a Webstead and the reckoner both work together when the film's being uploaded. But after the uploading, the furlaying or the furlawing, whatever you want to call it, of the film is all on the Webstead after that. The Reckoner doesn't do anything else after that. So, but it was like, that's what it was. You know, and it's still like that. Go on a YouTube help sheet and you will seek folks like that who will give you all kinds of thought, but none of it's going to be helpful. You know. So why do films get stuck in furlaying? No one knows. YouTube has some thoughts on themselves, but YouTube probably knows more about it than anyone else. Everyone else has their little thoughts and beliefs. Oh, maybe it was the wrong time. Maybe it was too many folks on the website at the time when I made the film. Oh, somehow my stronghold, my Evilware stronghold tool, and my firewall that was letting everything in every day shifted settings. Well, keep in mind, those tools only shift their settings unless you go in and shift the settings. You know, oh, and somehow, oh, my interweb's somehow having a hang up that day. If that was true, I wouldn't be on YouTube at all if my interweb was having some kind of hang up. The hang up has always been and always will be on YouTube's side when it comes to a lot of things. It's never going to be your Reckoner or your running layout, running upmake, running setup. It's never going to be any of that. It's always going to be on the webstead. You know? And the haters used to always, scave me for scaving YouTube for getting my film stuck in furlaying. You have no right. YouTube's a free webstead. You can't scave it for getting your film stuck in furlaying. Yeah, well, guess what? You're scaving me, and I'm free, and if your film got stuck in furlaying, you'd be mad too. So, anyway, that's what my film's about. Probably more of a more longer film than my yesterday's film that I didn't want to do at 8, but some hang up happened the minute where I had to do it at 8. So it is what it is. Keep in mind this film is 7 minutes. It's in 1080p HD, and I have not done anything to this film beyond what I've already been doing these films since March. I'm Jordan Long, and I hope you like this film.